Hi, welcome to today's video and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about passive income. Now, many of you have asked me to do this video on passive income, and some of you have some kind of passive income in your retirement plans. I have to admit, many of them are actually non-registered plans and you're investing in dividend income. So today we're going to share with you 18 different ways to generate passive income for your retirement, even before retirement, to enjoy that income source. I'm also going to show you how to integrate that into your retirement plan, including CPP optimization and RSP meltdown. That's all in this video. Now, this is a two-part series, two-part video. So that's the first video today. The second one is having a drawdown of your assets, which includes the passive income stream. Okay, so I hope you enjoy both videos. Put your comments below. I love reading your comments. And let's get into why you're here today. Okay, so the first one is whole life insurance. Now, come on guys, give me a break. I'm an insurance advisor, so I've got to lead with this one. And I'll just take a minute to explain. By the way, I should explain how I'm putting these together. I'm going to give you the passive income idea, the input required, and the capital required. So many of them are very easy to get involved, but require a lot of capital, and vice versa. So that's how I'm going to be going through all 18. Now, whole life insurance requires more capital and it generates tax-free income. It provides that dividend income. So that's why I'm leaving it here, because it is a passive income stream. You just invest money into it and you're going to get an annual dividend. All the insurance companies in Canada have produced annual dividends, I think, for more than 125 years. I'll go into that in a second. And so this is very easy. So in terms of how easy it is, if you have a non-registered portfolio, or if you've got money left in your corporation, a holding company, you've downsized your home, you're sitting on a lot of capital, and you know what's going on in your plans, you have an old age security clawback because you have all this non-registered capital, or maybe you're not touching the money because you don't want to pay the tax to get at it. So it's a problem, right? So what we do is we push money into the whole life insurance policy. That grows on a tax-free basis. It compounds on itself, and then you're going to use that money later on. So let me show you an illustration. Here is one insurance company, just giving you sort of the history. Since 2000, the annual dividend was 8.4%. So this is the annual dividend being given to you when you're investing in whole life insurance that has cash value. And as you can see, as interest rates have dropped over the couple decades, so too has the dividend, but it's sitting right now about 6.25%. So if you're comparing that to a dividend that you're getting in a non-registered portfolio, pretty competitive, right? And the difference here is that there's no tax. So in your non-registered portfolio, you've got the dividend tax credit that's going in, that's helping you. But in the insurance, which is different, is there's no reporting of income here. That's the rules of whole life insurance in Canada. When you receive a dividend into your life insurance policy, so not in your hand, but you keep it in the insurance policy, you pay zero tax. So pretty wild to be able to do that. Now, when we do a type of policy, just to show you how we go through this, the process, we do some illustrations and we compare one company over another. So this is just Manulife doing two different ways to structure the policy against Sun Life, two different ways to structure the policy. And as you can see, you've got different cash values and they line up, and we give you this awesome PDF that you can go through. It's a really great way for you to figure out how much money you need to invest into the policy to provide the kind of income source you want later on. So I think life insurance is probably the easiest in terms of input. You have to be healthy and you got to have more cash. So on the cash side, on the capital side, higher, but on the ease, I mean, you do a blood test and like physical and you're done. So pretty simple. Okay, the next one is content in intellectual property. And by the way, while you're seeing these, if you're doing any of these things, comment below, I'm doing this one or I'm doing that, and share your experience, because I think people want to know, is it easy? Was it hard? It's really cool to see other people are doing these things too. So obviously I'm doing the insurance and you're watching my YouTube channel. So is this a difficult thing to do? I mean, you've got to be comfortable in front of a camera. The cost to get involved is not that expensive. You need a phone with a great camera, or if you want to go and invest in a professional camera, you can, but you don't need it. You need some lighting, you need a computer to just do the editing and so on. So you can do it. So it doesn't cost quite a bit. You probably have some of those things right now that you could start a YouTube channel. And what is really interesting to really find out about YouTube when you're doing it is you start seeing that there are other people in the world that love the things that you do, and then you start making money. That's not the reason why I started the YouTube channel, but I do get an income from it, so it's pretty cool to see that. So YouTube is fairly easy. You dedicate it maybe an hour or two a week to talking about a certain subject, recording, edit it, post it, and hopefully you get some feedback from people. The next is podcast with sponsorships. So what is hugely popular right now are podcasts. I know someone, in fact, who was on television and we'll just say on BNN, and she moved over to doing podcasts. And I think the reason behind that is because she can now be her own producer, director of her own content and get paid to do it. I think probably much more than showing up at BNN. So I think it worked in her favor. And so if you think about all the podcasts, some of you are probably listening to podcasts already. If you've got experience, knowledge, are you excited or passionate about a certain subject that you just get? Are you a talker? Because if you can start a podcast, you don't have to be on camera. There are podcasts that are on YouTube, right? So you see the people chatting versus just your voice, so an audio podcast. If that's something that you want to get involved in, start doing it. Don't worry about what you hope to happen. Just get started and start talking, invite guests on, and you're going to be surprised by how many people actually share your viewpoint, love hearing your ideas on certain subjects, and it's kind of addictive. By the way, these two things are very kind of addictive to record content and see what kind of feedback you get from people. So I encourage anybody out there with all this knowledge to do this. Now, by the way, a little bit of history. Why am I talking about this? Because I'm a firm believer when I'm doing plans for people, retirement plans for people, that you have you've gotten to retirement and you have all these years of experience, knowledge, skill set. And am I right? Do you share this view as well? Do you see a big brain drain going from companies right now? I see so many people in the 55 and up class that have decided to retire since the event that happened in 2020. And that is a huge brain drain. But you have all that knowledge, so it's easy for you to monetize that and leverage it. So I would say get started and enjoy. Okay, content and intellectual property. Write an ebook. I actually wrote an ebook. I published it on Amazon, and I thought that was really cool to just give it a try. I'll put a link to where you can do this, and it's so easy. So to give you some insight, if anybody wants to know how to do this, if you want me to do a video on it, it's not part of my channel, but I just was fooling around just saying, what is the big deal about doing an ebook? Is it very difficult? And it wasn't. So I had ChatGPT help me write the ebook. Then ChatGPT integrates with Canva. Canva is a software program that lets you do a lot of images, PDFs, thumbnails for YouTube and so on, and it connects to ChatGPT. I chose a sort of a book cover with the pages formatted a certain way, and it connects to ChatGPT, Canva did, and it takes everything that I wrote and Canva wrote on ChatGPT and then puts it on the Canva template, and then you just play around a little bit with some of the formatting, and boom, you got a book, a cover, and it's ready to go. Then you upload that to Amazon Publishing, and they print. So you don't have to do any of it. People go online, they buy the book, and they send out the book, and you get a piece, and Amazon gets a piece. So that took me about 30 minutes, 45 minutes to do all that, but pretty easy to do. Okay, the next one is create an online course. I actually have an online course for advisors, and you can see it here on the screen. This was something that I felt very strongly about because when I was an advisor at a leading financial institution, my job as a director was both having clients, but also to hire, coach, and develop advisors, all the way from right out of university to a 30-year veteran who needed to understand how to do succession planning and bring on junior advisors, all these things. So I developed this online course for advisors to be able to learn how to do the job of an advisor and do it well. And so that's available anywhere someone speaks English. They can use that course. And so I'm very proud to be able to do that. But that took me, so in terms of ease of use, well, you had to have the experience, right? So you've got your experience. I did 80 videos, so it took me 3 months. And I did this at the beginning of the 2020 event. I don't want to say the name because they'd like to cancel people for that. So when in my business, when that 2020 event happened, no financial institution was ready for advisors to go online. Their digital footprint was very, very weak. They did not like doing DocuSign. They liked wet signature for everything that we did, meaning print paper, have the client sign. And so it took about maybe a month and a half to 2 months for all these companies to be able to get all of their applications, everything that they did online, forms, everything, and then adopt a standardized digital signature, which DocuSign is very popular. So I thought, well, what am I going to do right now? Everybody's panicking. Nobody wants to see each other face to face. Technology doesn't let us go and do the things we want to do. So there was sort of this window of an opportunity, and I always wanted to build a course. So I said, boom, perfect timing. And so I have a whiteboard right over here on my wall, a huge whiteboard, and I put out all the chapters, all the video titles, and I got to work recording and built myself an online course, and now it's on Teachable for any advisor to choose. So did it take a long time? 3 months every day recording and learning how to do it. That was my experience of learning how to record videos and how to edit videos. And so it was great use, but I got to do what I wanted to do. Okay, so the next one is stock photography, video, and music licensing. So as a content creator for my channel, I'm always looking for images and video that I have to be able to use in my videos, and they have to be licensed so that we can use them. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't allow us to use them. And so there are so many channels out there online, not YouTube channels, but photography and music channels that allow you to create your own content, upload it to those channels, and you can get paid a royalty every time somebody buys it off that website. So are you an avid photographer or videographer and you've got content, you can put it online and get an income source from it. Now, I actually have a client, shout out to my clients. I'm not going to say your last name, of course, but Randy, well done. So proud of you for what you're doing. And so Randy is a music lover, and he's got this fantastic keyboard, and he created some music, and now that's available online for people as well, and from what I understand, it's going well. So this is a great idea. If you can monetize your hobbies, awesome, love it. Okay, digital products and software. Sell digital downloads. This is so easy to do. AI lets you now to create just about anything. So if you have an idea for a download, a template, an Excel file that's going to help business owners, or calendars, budgets, these are so popular right now. You might see websites that are fully dedicated to all this kind of information. So it could be, if you're like to doodle and do crafts and you just put that on there. You saw not long ago people that like to doodle and so on, those became NFTs, and look what, that was just crazy what was going on there. And so I have digital downloads, but they're related to for my clients when they need certain things. They're on my website. They're also in my online course for advisors. So there's digital downloads in each of the chapters. I could sell them individually, and you could too with the ideas that you've got. So if you have something that information, so this is what's really powerful. You have information gathered over 25 to 35 years of working, that all the people that you left behind at work, still are trying to learn, and you can make that process a lot easier by just having those available for people all over the world that speak English or whatever language you're doing. And that's so easy to do, and it's great. So print on demand is the next one. Again, this is really great for apparel. So if you got some great designs that people can download, and there's websites that allow you to be able to upload them to the website, and then they actually print them on t-shirts and hats and coffee mugs and all that stuff. It's a really awesome thing. You could be also on Fiverr, for example, and you could be easily just creating logos for people, even though there's logo design websites out there. If you are talented at this, it's easy for you to create these kinds of digital forms of whatever you wanted to give to someone to purchase. You think about everywhere you go right now and you see something on a t-shirt, something on a coffee mug, on a pen or something, somebody created that artwork and made it available for a download, right? And then they get royalties from it. So if you're good at that and you've got some ideas, have at it. Okay, so those are actually very easy to do, the digital stuff, but this is a little bit harder. Real estate and property. How many of you are feeling really just hung over from the real estate problem that you're in, right? It's been really difficult, and interest rates aren't going down fast enough, and there's no buyers out there. People don't want to buy anything, so it's kind of difficult right now, but that won't be true in the coming years. In the coming years, things are going to reverse, and there's going to be people buying. So let's talk about real estate and sort of from a passive income. Anybody that's in real estate will tell you that the idea of passive income it's not as easy as you might experience. So you've got to have the capital to be able to put into a real estate project. So buy, whether it's residential or commercial, and then find a tenant, well, fix it up, make sure it's rentable, find a tenant that's going to pay the bills, and then get right on the mortgage and keep your costs down, and then hopefully over time you'll start building up some passive income if all of those things remain constant. So having real estate takes time to generate the passive income, and I can tell you that I know my aunt told me, my late aunt told me, I can always tell how much problems people have by the number of keys they have on their key ring. So it comes with its own set of problems, if you will, or anxieties. It's not easy to do, but if you can get it done, I mean, anybody that's worth a lot of money has real estate in their portfolio. So if you can find the right mix of tenant, property, right mortgage, and getting the rental income high enough to cover that mortgage long term, it works well. REITs, real estate investment trust. This is easy to do. Similar to life insurance, you just have to have the capital. You're giving your money over to a company that has a real estate investment trust. So what is that? You'll see them, typically they're apartment buildings, some commercial properties, but essentially they already have the tenants. They're just looking for investment because they want to take your money and they want to go out and buy more properties and do the same thing. So you're going to get like a dividend coming to you. So it's an easy thing for you to get involved in. Long history of really great returns. So the input for you, it's a no-brainer. You don't have to do much. Find the right one. You get paid. The hard part is the capital. You got to have the capital to be able to invest in that. But in terms of effort on your part, zero, really. Okay, again, real estate, Airbnb, and short-term rentals. In the GTA, not easy to do. All around the world, Airbnb is under attack in terms of the restrictions on them. I don't see that business going away. I don't see at all that business going away. So if you wanted to get involved in that, interestingly enough, that could be not a more difficult thing than buying rental income, but there is certainly an opportunity. Now, I've also seen people who are doing Airbnb arbitrage. So they don't actually own the Airbnb, they're actually getting the people to the Airbnb, and so they're able to have that spread between, so basically they're marketing someone else's Airbnb, and that has also worked out. Now, in terms of the ease to get involved, well, you've got to get the Airbnb first, so there's got to be some capital involved. Then it goes on to Airbnb or Verbal, and now there's so many ones to compete with. So imagine now you're sort of in that hoteling environment, and if you're in the right locations, this could work out very well for you. Now there are also businesses that support Airbnb, so people that will go and clean, right? Inspect the property, make sure it's safe, that nothing's broken, and it's clean. So there's a lot of businesses around Airbnb businesses to make your life much easier to manage an Airbnb property. So I would say to you, if that was something you wanted to get involved in, start doing your research, because once you have the Airbnb, it's not as much input on your part, because you can have it set up that it's all automated. But you do need the capital to get involved. Well, how do you get capital to get involved? Real estate crowdfunding. This is where people pool their money together to invest in projects together. And this would be a really easy thing to do. Now there is similar, I don't want to say crowdfunding, but it's very much like taking your RRSP and investing it into a new development condo. There's a company out west that does that, where you can invest your RRSP into real estate deals. And that's crowdfunding. They're taking everybody from all over the country, dropping it into a condo deal. They're building a huge condo. It's going to take 5 to 7 years to build this condo, so you're not getting your money back right away. But you could have a much higher payout. That's the whole problem with this, is that you've got to have the money. You're not quite clear on what the return is going to be, and you might be locked in for a little period of time. So in that environment, that could be unsettling for many people, but you could get together with investment groups in your area where you all meet together, and you together decide that you're going to fund projects together. And it could be a very tight-knit group. It could be 3, it could be 5 people, and together you have the same goals, and you say, we have this amount of money and we're going to go after these projects. That's crowdfunding, and that goes actually very well. The only thing that I don't like about it is that now you have 3 partners or 4 partners or 5 partners, and when they have problems, you have a problem. So be aware of that. Okay, and the last one is just mobile home parks, storage units. Very, very popular. Whether you invested in storage units, or you go out and buy them. So you could go out and buy commercial property and turn it into a storage unit. The capital involved in that is pretty high, obviously. Input in terms of you running the business is very low. You can hire a couple people to be there all day long, but you don't have to be there. Same with mobile home parks. Again, you can have people that are there that are running that business for you, but the capital involved to get into it is pretty steep. Okay, let's talk about investing in the markets. This is what many of you are already doing, which I said in the very beginning, dividend stocks. So I see when I'm doing plans, many of you have non-registered plans. You got $1 million in a non-registered account. Okay, $500,000. Some of you are upset that I always use $1 million examples, but you've got this dividend portfolio, and you just keep reinvesting the dividends. You don't want to take any money out because you're trying to grow it, but at some point you want to use it, and that's where you've got a problem with taxation. And so what I find is that when we go through your plan, the whole problem with the non-registered dividend portfolio is you got a big tax bubble. And I'll just say this right away. In a non-registered portfolio, if you're not doing withdrawals and you just keep reinvesting the money, then you have just added another beneficiary to your estate, and that's called Canada Revenue. You are effectively growing your non-registered portfolio for Canada Revenue. Why? Like, use the money every year. Pay the tax, use the money. Pay the tax, use the money. Live your life. By the way, that's another video coming out shortly. Live your life, enjoy your money, give it to charity, elevate other people that need the money, give it to your kids, elevate their life or make their life a little bit easier to manage while these things are so expensive to live. But I do not advocate at all that you just simply grow a non-registered account and let it grow and compound, only to have this huge tax bubble at the end of your life. It doesn't make any sense to me. Canada Revenue is in the corner just cheering you on. Yeah, keep growing that account. I want you to use that money and enjoy your life. Index funds and ETFs, similar to the first one, but instead of just buying individual stock positions, now you're buying an index fund. This is or through an ETF, exchange traded funds, very popular. I have them available for clients as well. And so this is a no-brainer if you are let's say concerned about owning individual stock positions, or if, let's say, you're doing your withdrawal strategy, which we'll get into later, and you've got to choose which stocks to sell to generate your income. Sometimes it's difficult because you can really grow to like a certain stock or a certain type of investment, and you've got to decide to pick and choose which stocks. In index funds or ETF funds, you're just selling units, right? So as the market is going up, the price of those units have gone up in value, but you don't have the same kind of love affair that you have with this individual stock because the ETF is more broadly diversified, and so you're just selling a unit. It's hard to get excited or fall in love with a unit in an ETF. Easy to do if you're looking for sort of like a no-brainer kind of portfolio that you don't have to worry too much and have very, very broadly based portfolio, then ETFs are easy, and I've got 70 of them for you to choose from. Let's talk about covered call options and strategies. So this is popular only, I think probably maybe 20% of all the people I talk to, which is still quite a bit, are using these. I'm not going to go into the strategy behind there because it's a video unto itself, but essentially this is a way for you to generate passive income. And when I'm talking to my clients that are doing this strategy, they are digging the passive income. They love it. And so I would invite you to just go on YouTube and type in covered call options and for passive income, and you'll get a whole bunch of videos on that. Bond ladders, and then you can put this under GICs as well, but bond ladders are easy. This laddering means that you've got, whether it's a GIC or a bond, you have those maturing at certain times, so the income streams are coming in at different times. Also, the bond pays out at a different yield for some of these bonds as well, so you could ladder them so that you get different income sources throughout your retirement, even before your retirement, which is really cool. Private lending peer-to-peer. I actually have a few clients doing this. They take their money, their non-registered money, and they lend it out to a mortgage company. These are called MIC, I believe, MIC. And so essentially these companies are doing loans to individuals or companies, it doesn't matter. And like, think of somebody that needs a bridge loan because they're they're in between homes. Easy. They just lend out money for a year. You are giving them the money to do that. They are finding the client. They are getting all the contracts signed. They have all the lawyers. So you're kind of protected in that way as long as they are doing it well. Very easy on your part. Again, all you need is a capital. And you don't need a lot. You could easily be lending out $50,000, for instance, and you get a really great rate of return. It'd be somewhere between 9 and 13% rate of return. Really good for you, and easy money. So I encourage you to diversify your non-registered portfolio to do that. Okay, so that's it. We're gone through the whole video, and I have a question for you. What skill or knowledge can you leverage in your retirement? Remember, this is something that you have acquired over 25 to 35 years. You have all this knowledge, this skill that you could leverage in 18 different ways to leverage all that skill. And one of the things I find that people do when they get to retirement is they stop making money. They just rely on the money they've saved to make money, but they stop earning more money. And you have the capacity to actually earn more money. If you were to have, let's say, $400,000 or $500,000 that would generate you $20,000 a year. So what is easier for you, to generate $20,000 a year or to save $400,000 or $500,000 more? So that's the idea of generating passive income. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember to tune into part 2, and that is passive income. You're developing the strategy to integrate that into all of your other income sources. And I look forward to seeing you in that video. Thanks for sticking around this video. Put your comments below. And good to see you again. Thanks very much, and be well.